Okay. Good morning to all. So, let's. Okay. Yesterday we started with how to work with the data binding mechanism, where we have seen like a couple of examples on the first one is going to be one-way data binding. And in that one-way data binding, we have seen how do we share the data with the help of string interpolation. Is it visible to all? And the second one is the property binding. And proper interpolation syntax is required whenever if you are going to bind the data direct to the HTML tags as a content. And when I say about the property binding, it is used to assign the dynamic values to the attributes of the HTML or properties of the HTML, which are known by the DOM. And the third one that is that attribute binding. And in DOM, like few properties or attributes are not known attribute, then at that time, to make it available, we will be giving attr dot whatever that attribute name we are having, we can give and assign the value. And event binding, as I told you, like I'll explain you later by taking a separate session. And later we start working with an NG model. But we haven't seen any example on that, right? I hope so. Is it done? No, right? Okay, very good. So let's open the data binding basic example only, that what we have discussed yesterday. And I'm going to run this application ngs-o -project is equal to, and the name of the project is going to be data binding demo. It's a component actually. Now here we have data binding demo that we are having. So data binding demo, that what I can say. And another thing is, you see directly if I created a component in the app folder, sometimes we might get confused what exactly it is. So to not get the confusion state, what you need to do is, it's better always to create a separate folder with the name component, and there you can create. And I will show you from the next project onwards. I don't want to make now itself too much complicated. So that is the reason. Now you can see this is how it is going to be, the product detail and the name of the product that we have seen. You could see here. You could see here we have what we created, different item. The first one is the name of the product, second one is the image, and third one is the stock, and fourth one is the table width, and fifth one is going to be table height. Now in the HTML, if you can observe that the product name I'm displaying directly with the help of DD tag, so that directly within the HTML we are displaying, so that I can use what? Interpolation syntax. And then you can see we have the product image is available. How we are displaying that image? I have a DD tag where this is an image, and we are not displaying directly like this, as we are giving a value to an attribute that is src. So if that is a case, either you can go with interpolation, but in different cases, interpolation may not work. That is also I have shown you yesterday. Instead of doing that, it's always good practice to go with the property binding whenever if you're assigning any dynamic value to the property of the HTML. And you can see it is working as perfectly fine and we are able to display the data. But few properties are not the part of the DOM. Like for a table, we have the height property. Height property is not the part of the DOM. Then at that time, before that, you can give ATTR. Once if you can give an ATTR, then automatically it will work. Okay, once if you can give ATTR, then automatically it will work. Now the next one, I'm going to show you a two-way data binding here. How could we use the two-way data binding? You can see, I'm going to take another div here, another div. And for this one, maybe I can ask the user, enter username. Okay, I'm taking a div here and I ask the user to enter the username over there. Once if user enter that username, generally how to take that usernames? Input element. Yes or no? That means we have an input element. By using that input element, we are going to take the data from the user. Let's say input type equal to text, input type equal to button, or input type equal to password, input type equal to email. Like that, we have different input elements are available. By using that, we can take the input from the user. So that I can say input to type equal to text I can give. Understand? Input type equal to text. And here, when I give, let's say, a value property, value is equal to, okay, value is equal to. Now here, I'll create a property, something like public username is equal to, and which is of type string is equal to, I'm giving my name over here. Now, when I save it and then come back here, and where you can give that particular property that we have defined here. What is the property? Username. So that I can give that username here and then save my application, and you can see how it is going to be. Still my application is under that execution. Now you can see I'm able to see my name over there, right? Now I'm going to display the name also. So let's give a break tag. After that, username is, I'm displaying the data by using some span tag or whatever directly with the help of an interpolation where I can give the username. Now save this and then you can see I'm able to see like, the username Srikanth here where I can get that from the TS and I'm able to display in the HTML. Okay, HTML input type. For that, I'm using what? Property binding. After that, I'm displaying directly within the span tag so that I use it. But I have a requirement, something like whenever user has modified the value, then I wanted to update the same value directly in the model, and the same thing has to be reflected over here also, right? But so far, whatever we have done, that is completely an example for one-way data binding. That is completely an example for one-way data binding. You can see, I'm just giving a break tag just to show you better way. Now you can see, this is completely one-way data binding. Whatever the value we have it in the TS, we are able to get the value and display it here, nothing apart from that. But I wanted to change here the value from Srikanth to Raju or whatever, then it has to be updated on the TS. Once if it is updated, definitely here it is also getting updated, right? So this process, what we call it as two-way data binding, in order to implement the two-way data binding, we use what? NG model. Now, what is two-way data binding? It is the process of changing in one place will affected in both the places. If user changes in the component, it will be affected on the HTML and vice versa, in the sense if user change it in HTML, that is also updated on the TS file. To implement that, we use a directive, that is what? NG model, and that NG model is available under the forms module and which is available under @ Angular /forms library that we are having. Now, generally in practical environment, this is a kind of interview question. What is meant by single source of truth? Because, you know, there is some difference between the technical learning and the academic learning. Technically, let's say the concept of content projection is there. Name you can see by thinking about the name, it is something different, but the usage is a bit easy. I mean, usage is completely easy. Here also single source of truth. Generally, what it is, NG model or two-way data binding, or else wildcard routes are available. Generally, I mean, these are the technical terminologies. In interview, if you can use these technical terminologies, then definitely that will give a good impression to, like, the interviewer who is going to take. That is only the reason where I'm telling this one, say, single source of truth, but it is not that much important. It is optional. Generally, two-way data binding, another name is single source of truth. That's it. Now, how I can implement that? So that example is going to be something like this. And one more important point, NG model, NG model directive, directive should be applied only for input element. So what are the form elements we are having? Either it is a text box, or it is a password, or it is a radio button, or it is a checkbox, or it might be a drop down list, or it might be anything which is the part of an input element. For that only, we supposed to apply what? NG model. And remaining places, it is not that much important. Now, how I can do that one? Maybe in this example, I have a property. What is the property? Public username, which is of type string, and initial value of that I'm giving here Srikant. And I want to display or I want to apply a two-way data binding for this property. Then what you can do is you can take an input type, any input type you can take, and here maybe the first thing is going to be the text has to be applied. And here what you can do is you supposed to give an NG model is equal to with whatever the property created, you can give that particular property. Understand? So that's it. Now you can see the same thing I'm doing. I'll go to my application here, and where instead of giving the value, I'll remove it and I'm giving an NG model. Now you can see NG model is equal to with what name we created the property, give the same name. You can see I created a property with the name username, so that I'm giving exactly the username here. Clear now? Now we have an error. What is that error? Cannot bind to NG model since it is not a known property. So why it is not a known property? As I told you already, if it is an interpolation, or if it is going to be an attribute binding, or if it is a property binding, those are by default, it comes with the templates. That is the HTML. But when it comes to the two-way data binding, it is completely a different attribute, and it was provided by the Angular. If something has provided by the Angular, we should know from where it came. As I told you, it comes from the forms module. When I say about a module, the very first thing what you can do is go to the module, because we have one module file right now at this moment. Go to the module.ts. Now here, only one thing what you can do is just use forms module. Okay, only one thing. Now, where this forms module is available, you can see import forms module. Where it is available? At the rate Angular/forms library. And you can just come back here. Now we don't have any issues. Okay, so most of the people, they are getting confusion over here. That is where I mentioned even that point. It is available under the forms module, and which is available under @Angular/forms library. So that what you can do, we must have to give that particular property, that particular class over here. Now, once if it is done, we don't have any error. And now you can observe that output, how it is going to be. Right now, the value is Shrikant. When I remove, you see everything got removed. When I do the modification, is it modified or not? Tell me. You can see, maybe I can give my email code with gmail.com, that what. Whenever I'm doing the modification, then automatically it is modifying that particular value directly in the TS, and the same value is reflected here also. This process, what we call it as two-way data binding. And to implement the two-way data binding, I used what? A directive. That is what we call it as ng model. And this ng model is available in which module? Forms module. So that forms module has to be imported under the app module. Go to that app module, import the forms module, and this is available under @Angular/forms library. Clear? Any doubts? Anyone have any doubts, please ask. Online event. Okay, we'll go with another example. Okay, same, because this is data binding is not like, one day process every day, like, we will be using it. Because in example, it's okay, but in practical environment, we are developing like, we are working on like, the data which is given by the servers. So that is where it is important. I'll go with another example by having it in a different way that I'll go. Let me close all. And as I told you, it's always good practice to create a separate folder with a name component, and then you can create all the components over there. That is always good practice. No, Srikant, I just wanted to go like in this time means you can. I don't want to stop you even. I'll right click and open the integrated terminal. Let me open the command prompt, and I'm generating a command ng g c, and it is two-way data binding. Let's say two-way binding, I can say --skip -test, that what I can give. So that it created another component to me, that is two-way data binding. Now, what are the basic sanity steps has to be performed to run this one? What other steps has to be performed? Right, the first thing is going to be, we have to bootstrap this one, because I generated the two-way binding component with the help of Angular CLI, so that it by default comes under the declaration section. It by default comes under this section. Now what I want to do, I wanted to run this, so that let me go with the bootstrap. That is the first step. And second step is going to be with whatever the TS, selector we are having, I'm selecting that particular one and giving it to where? Where? Very good. We'll go to the index.html, and instead of using this, let me give that particular two-way data binding, app hyphen two-way data binding, that what I have given. Very good. So now you can see, once if those steps are done, now if you can see, just refresh it once again, two-way data binding works. If you can go with the default browser as Google Chrome, then no need to refresh. Google Chrome is somehow smart browser when compared to Edge. That is where Edge is sometimes, not all the time, sometimes you need to refresh if you are not getting an output. But this scenario is not going to be happen for you on the Chrome. Okay, that's all like, to depend on the browser. It's not like, your Angular application problem. It's by default, like whatever the browser you selected. And Srikant, why you have go with this one means I'm a Microsoft developer. Everything has to be tested. Earlier it was Internet Explorer. I used Internet Explorer around like, last 2 years. Till 2 years, I used Internet Explorer. But no one is open that Internet Explorer. But my projects are tested there. But now, like, I have it yet to test it on what? Edge. Because my projects are completely Microsoft related projects. But in your case, if your default browser is going to be let's say Chrome, then you need not to refresh also. That is it. Now, let's create a simple contract. I mean, we'll go in a different approach. So far, what we have done in the basic example, I created like, the properties directly within the component class. But in practical environment, as I told you, we are getting the data from where different data source. Maybe you can see, I'll show you one URL, one fake store API, where it comes with like, the data. When I go with the product, now you can see this is how like, the data is going to be, where we have ID, title, name, price, whatever. You can see this is how I am getting the data. If you remember, I guess like in TypeScript also I showed you like how to create the contract classes with the help of interfaces. Did you remember? Now exactly same kind of example I'm going to show you over here. So for that, what I can do, I'm just assuming right now I'll show you with a dummy data. Maybe in the next example, I will show you how to connect this with the help of JavaScript. In JavaScript, there is a method that is what we call it as a fetch method is available. Fetch method in JavaScript, what it will do is, it is used to fetch the data from the servers. Okay, any server you can take, which will be communicated over there and get the data. I'm going to show you that kind of example in the next session, not right now. First, we will see like how do we prepare the contract, and then I'll show you like how we can make use of it. So that now what I can do, I'm just assuming that, okay, we are in two-way data binding. Now in the app folder, okay, in the app folder, I'll create a new folder. I'll create a new folder, and this is my contract file. So that maybe I can say product dot contract dot ts, I can say product dot contract dot ts, I can say. Now I'm creating a simple contract class that is export interface, and I'm going to give something like product info, that what I am giving. Now here in the product info, whatever all that items you wanted to have, you can have it. So that I can say product ID, which is of type number, that what I can give. And at the same time, maybe I can say product name, which is of type string, that what I can say. And after that, product cost, yeah, price or cost, maybe I can say it as going to be the number. And then product, okay, stock, that what I can say, which is of type Boolean, and at the same time, product quantity, yeah, image, if you want, you can take. If quantity, maybe I can take the quantity as going to be the number, or else, let's say, product image is going to be, maybe it is of type string, I can say. Now, all these are the properties that are belongs to where? It's a product info. It's a product info. Now, what I can do, I'm going to create a variable over here. Now, what I can do, let's say public, okay, and the name can be anything. Maybe I can say product is equal to product, and this is of what type here it is going to be? Product info type. Okay, product info type. Now, Shrikant, what is that advantage? What is that advantage? Typing, data typing, or else like strict typing. When I say about the product, if I tell you, like, just to take product name, product price, and product quantity, product image, and product ID, and if I say, let's say 10 to 15 items, then people might forget. Definitely forget. Definitely they might miss at least one or two property. That is how it is going to be, because I just wanted to maintain with some consistency in the, not only in this component, across that application. When I say about the product, I just wanted to maintain few fields that are mandatory. If that is a case, if you people have created like, the properties individually here, there might be a chance you missed in some other component, right? Yes or no? I have 10 component. If I created like, 10 times like, the property, then you might missed it at some place also. Instead of doing that, when I say about like, a product should contain the information of these items. That is my requirement. So that what I can do, I'll create it as an interface. When I create it as an interface, if you are not providing the implementation, then it will throw you an error. Right now you can see, I'll go with see that. Am I able to see each and everything here? Or I'm able to give what the product ID is equal to, maybe I can give 101. Okay, don't give the equal, give a column. And after that, what we are having, product name is equal to, now what would be the name? Name is of type string. If I give, let's say 11, there you can see, that means we have exact data type match should be matched, and also it should contain all that items that are related to the product. That is how the contracts are implemented in the real. But Srikanth, I don't want to follow me. That's your wish. As I told you, I just wanted to bring like, exactly how we are writing with some standard, coding standard. This is a standard that we are following. Generally speaking, do we have the interfaces in the JavaScript? Do we have? Obviously, no, we don't have. Once if it is getting converted into the JavaScript, then whatever the file we created, this file will disappear definitely. But here, how much like, flexibility is giving at coding level, you can see. When I created a product info, if once until unless you give all the data, it won't leave you. That is how it is. Now I can say the name of the product as going to be, maybe I can say one place that what I can give. One place that what I can give. And after that, product cost is going to be, maybe I can say 23K. And after that, product image is going to be, I'm getting it from assets folder. Okay, assets folder where I have one place dot JPG or something that I'm having this one. And after that, what property we have? After that, the product quantity, maybe I can give 3. And after that, the product stock is going to be, I can say either true or false. Now you can see, once if I'm giving all the property, then only the error gone. If I'll be removing at least one property, then still we have an error, and it is showing me which property you missed. I missed the product stock, so that I can give it, so we don't have any issue. Clear? Clear how to use the contract classes? Now, same thing, I want to display it in my UI. How I can do that one? Again, go to the HTML. I'll go to my HTML it over there. And here what I can do, I'm removing it. And then let's take a div, and where I can give a class that is going to be container fluid. It's a bootstrap class, which will give you container fluid, will give like, some margin, some empty spaces on the left and right, and the content should be exactly on the middle. That is how it is going to be. Now, apart from that one, I'll take a div, and then I'm giving a class as going to be row. Now, what exactly the row here? What row class will do in Bootstrap? Have you gone through that, anyone? Anyone? Bootstrap. Bootstrap, the first chapter is this one only, grid architecture. Every bootstrap, what it will do is it contains 2 viewports. One is container, another one container fluid. Container will occupy the whole screen width. Okay, container fluid will give an empty space on left side and the right side. Okay, it gives some margin. That is the container and container fluid. Every bootstrap, what it will do is it will have like, the n number of rows, and each row will contain 12 columns. Each row will contain how many? 12 columns only. Now I created a row, and in that I'm going to create, let's say 6 columns. And after that, I'll I'll take another div and I'm going to give another 6 columns here. If I'll be give something like this, there you can see this is a column 6. Column 6 I can give, and here also maybe I can say column 6 and save it, and then you can see how that output is column 6 and column 6. And here in place of container only, maybe I missed. Now you can see when I use the container, left side and right side, it leaves some space. Okay, that is how it is. Because in CSS, you know what is the challenging task? Keeping that element in a proper lining, proper like, inline. If you can display that inline in a proper way, then that almost done. So that is only the reason where Bootstrap will work like, in an efficient way. Now I created something like this. Now here what I can do, I'll take something like register product, and here I'll be having the form. I'm going to have the form, and at the same time, here what I can do, I'm displaying the data in this particular 6 line. Generally, how to display this data? How to create 13. No, we don't have Pratik. Maximum limit is 12 columns. Maximum is 12. We don't have any option as far as I know. But in latest, I'm not sure. But as I remember, like it's 12 columns only. Maximum of 12 columns. Maybe like we can change, like, let's say this row property is there, right? This is, this is a class, and you can write on the top of it. And this is not a Bootstrap session. Don't ask me anything. Okay, related to Bootstrap. Okay, let's say I'm going to display the details here. First of all, I'll be using H2 product details or product details. I can say maybe I can take some DL data list, and I can go with the DT. And the first one is going to be ID of the product. Let's say product ID. How I can display that product ID now? How I can display the product ID? If I created a product ID directly outside of the class, that means inside the class directly, then I can call with that name. But now this product ID comes under where? A product object. So that you should access with the help of what? With the help of what? Product dot. Okay, we have what? Product ID, that what I can give. Product dot product ID. We will be getting IntelliSense also, but not sure why it is going. Yes, perfect. Now you can see product dot ID that we are having. Like that, let me display the remaining things as well. I'll go with another DT here. Another DT. What is the next one? Product name I can say, and where I can give the DD. And here also I'll be giving product dot. Okay, product dot. We go with the name of the product. Okay, the name of the product, that what I can say, will be giving the name of the product. And then I'll give a DT, another DT. What is the third one we are having? Okay, cost, image, quantity. Let's say product cost I can give, and I can go with the DD, and where I can say product dot, we go with what? Cost, product cost. Exactly the same name has to be given, otherwise it won't bind. And the next one is going to be product quantity, and I am using the DD, where I can get what? Product QTY, that what I can say, where I can give product dot quantity, and then we have the DT, let's say product image. Okay, product image, and I'm just giving another DD here, where I can get the image from here. Let me give that particular image. Product dot image, that what I can say. Sorry. What name? Product image. Okay. And the last one is going to be is available. Okay, is available. I'll go with the DD. Now here I'm having true and false, but I don't want to display that one. Rather, what I can do, I'll write a simple ternary condition. How I can do that? Simply, if product dot stock is equal to true, then I'm displaying a message to the user available. Okay, available. And apart from that one, maybe I can give, okay, out of stock or something. I can say out of stock I can give. That's it. No, there should be some square bracket has to be given. Now you can see we don't have any issues. Okay. Sorry. Perfect. And here also product dot. No, it's okay. Maybe you can remove this also. Not an issue. You can remove. Okay, suppose if the stock is true, then I'll display a message to the user available. Else I can display out of stock. And so far, this is completely what one-way data binding mode, right? Now you can see, if you can just come back here. Okay, I'm directly displaying it here now. Maybe I can do one thing. And save it. Now you can see ID 101, 1 plus, and the product cost is 23K, and the quantity is 3, and is available means available. Once if you can do any modification here, maybe in place of true, let's give the false and save it. Now you can see it is showing me as a out of stock or what. Okay. Fine. This is all about one-way data binding. Then how I can make use of it two-way data binding? How I can do that? For that reason, we need to register a product over here. Okay, let's say again one more DL, data list. There I have the DT. Now the first one is going to be the product ID. Maybe I can say product ID that what I can use. Product ID that what I can use. Now here I'm going to write another DD where I can take an input type as going to be text. And here directly you can give what? Which attribute? Very good. I'll go with ng model is equal to you can give product dot product ID has to be given. Okay, understood. Any input element you can take, guys. It doesn't matter that I'm taking here only the text, but in your case, if you wanted to give anything, that's your wish. We'll see like how do we use it in, let's say, some drop down, that kind of example also I'll plan. And after that, let's go with another one. I'm going to have a DT. Maybe I can say product name I can give, and then DD where I can give an input type as going to be text only. How I can give it over there? Let's say ng model is equal to with what name we are having. Maybe I can give that particular one. And after that, let's say dt quantity that what I can give. Quantity that what I can give. Now, if it is quantity, maybe I can take input type equal to range or else let's say input type equal to number that what I can give, and then the minimum is going to be, let's say 1, and the maximum is equal to, let's give 10, and I just wanted to give an ng model is equal to, you can give what a product quantity over there. Let's come back here, and I'm going to giving it over. Understood? Tell me. And image, I don't want to change anything. And anyhow is available. The product stock is there. So this is how it is going. Now you see, let's come back here. I'm changing only these three. When I say about 101, instead of 101, when I give 102, you see it is modified. In place of that, I'll go with iPhone. It is modified. Right now, we both the places we have 3. When I click on there you can see. Understood? So this is all about two-way data binding that we are having. Now, two-way data binding, direct implementation can be done with a property, or else you can take what? A simple contract class, and based on that contract class also, you can do the changes as per the requirement. Now, ask me any questions if you have here. Any questions, please? Model అంటే ఏముంది? ఓన్లీ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ లో మనం ఇంజెక్ట్ చేసే సర్వీసెస్. ఇఫ్ దెర్ ఈస్ ఎ సర్వీస్ దెన్ విల్ ఇంజెక్ట్ ఇన్ ద కన్స్ట్రక్టర్. అంటిల్ అన్లెస్ నార్మల్ మోడల్ క్లాస్ డైరెక్ట్లీ వీ కెన్ ఇంపోర్ట్, నాట్ అన్ ఇష్యూ. By default, if you are not giving anything, that is public only, because it's a TypeScript, right? The default access modifier. Generally, yes, if it is created as a property, go with public. But generally, what is your question is, if I write like it in the service, then we'll inject with the private keyword, private name of the variable and that variable in the constructor directly. You're saying, right? Constructor. That is service again. Dependency injection. The concept is dependency injection. Okay. Next. Again, parle. See, the difference between that here, what happened, right now, this is a basic example where I'm not constrained about the dependency injection and not to create multiple objects and all. Generally, what dependency injection will do is, based on the dependency, it creates that object and it give an access of that object at some level. Once if it is done, then object has to be killed, right? But here the problem is, right now I'm executing only this example where it is running only one selector, but general application is having lot of selectors. If you create an object like this, what happen, until unless you close the browser, this object resides on the memory, browser memory. But this object is required only for this component, right? Unnecessarily, why should I maintain with different component? That is what the reason dependency injection came into the picture. But now this is a simple example. If I take that much object taking care, then people might feel a bad thing. Because these are you see, taking contract class also, sometimes I feel, okay, is it really required to take a contract? Otherwise, like previous example, if I go, then that would be easy like that. But at least at some point of, there should be some triggering point where you have to connect it to the real world example. That is the reason slowly, like one example, another example, I'm including that. And whatever you asked, that is dependency injection, I'll explain it service level. Okay, right. Next. Any questions, please? Any questions from even online? Okay. So this is how, generally speaking, MVC. In MVC, like what we are doing, we prepare the model, right? Yeah, model view and view to model. MVC is what? First, we prepare the model object in the component. and that model object, with the help of the component, we will be sharing it with the to the view. This is one approach, MVC. When I say about M stands for the model, and model is nothing but the data. Wherever you have the data, that is the model. Don't think that like Srikanth, I prepare the data in my component, because this kind of implementation only you can find it now. Once we start the services, a complete data implementations are available on the service level. And then in the service, if you create a variable and maintain the data, then that would be a model. Understand? When I say about model is not something different layer with respect to that Angular. Wherever you have the data, that is the model. Now in this example, what is my model name? Product is my model. Now this product is available under where? Component, that is in the controller. Now this model is giving the data to controller. Controller will give the data to the HTML. This total all together we call it as MVC. Now I told you there is another approach is available, that is what we call it as MVVM. Okay, MVVM. Now what is mean by MVVM here? MVVM stands for model view and view model. That is okay. That means today this is the another one. Let's right. So it stands for MVVM, model view to view model. Here we don't have a controller interaction to share the data from model to view and vice versa. So that means we don't need to have a controller interaction whenever if you can go with this particular approach. Now, what is that advantage? It reduces request. The first thing is going to be, it reduces the number of requests. But here, the only one problem is going to be in this approach, okay, it takes more time to render the user interface. Simply, I can say HTML. That means if you can follow this particular approach, the only one problem is going to be, it takes more time to render the UI, because as I told you, we don't have a component based model and we have a model that is related to the view. That means in the view itself, we have the HTML, we have the model. If you can maintain those two at view level, then definitely it might take more time to load it in the browser. That is what we call it as rendering. What is mean by rendering? What is mean by rendering? Adi binding. Binding is different, rendering is different. Rendering is the process of converting server or model related code into equivalent HTML. I can say. So that means when it comes to an Angular, tell me one thing. I used an NG model, but do we have that NG model in the HTML? No. Is it possible to understand the browser that NG model? Obviously, no. Browser cannot understand. So that it has to convert that NG model to the browser understandable format, right? Yes or no? That process is called rendering. Generally, rendering terminology is not from the client side, it is from the server side. What is in the server side? Let's say you may take JSP. In JSP, you use some server-side control. ASP.NET, you can use some server-side control. But end of the day, any web application output, we will see it in a browser. But browser will understand what? Pure HTML. simple term, browser cannot understand even the TypeScript or even JavaScript, even CSS also. Seriously, without using style tag, if you can write the CSS property, browser cannot understand. Have you tried? Without using script tag, browser can understand the JavaScript also. That means end of the day, whatever the logic you people wants to write, you can, but it should convert it into what? HTML format. That process, what we call it as rendering. Rendering is a term, generally it came from the server-side programming. Rendering is a process of converting server-side code into the client understandable. Now, what is server-side code? That is the data, generally modal. Modal is the server-side code, converting into the equivalent HTML. Now, here you can see, I have something like this. When I go with view page source, you never find anything with respect to the JavaScript and anything. You can see it's all about, you can see it's all about what? HTML. The process of converting is what we call it as generally the rendering. Now, when I go with the MVVM approach, the problem here is going to be, I have like, the models that are defined directly over here so that it might take more time to render the data. Okay, more time for loading simply. So that is where in practical, I can say we go with MVC only. But if we have screens where there are no frequent modifications, then we use this approach. If you have a screen where you don't have the frequent modification, then always it's good to go with this approach. Now here, how to create? Here, we create models as template reference variables. Template reference variable. That means we created with the hash sign. We created here with the hash sign. Simply we created with the hash sign. That is important. Now, how I can do that one? Just simply the example. When you ask me an example, maybe let's say I have a property, something like this public. Name is one property where I'm having string is equal to, let's say, sorry, it is not required even to create a property. Directly what you can do, input type equal to, let's go with the text. After that, use a hash, create the model property. Okay, use a hash, create the model property with any name. That's your wish. I'm giving name equal to, here you can give ng model and then use a separate ng model. This is what the syntax. This is what the syntax. Simply, this is the model property that we are having. Now, how do I access the value from here? To access the value with what name we have. Okay, I created a property with the name, what name dot value. That's it. That means you can create a model in the view itself and you can access directly in the view itself. That is how it is done. Clear now? I'll show you an example. Maybe I'll say, go to here, right click, open an integrated terminal, go with the command prompt ng g c, and this is going to be model view component. Okay, model view. Don't use the component name here, suffix it, because if you can use the component name, you can see what happens. When I use the component, just I am using it. Don't use it. See what happened. Now, what is the name of our component now? You can observe that. What is the name? Model view, component to component. 2 times it comes because CLI will take care of, like, based on the type of generating angular element, it's suffixed automatically. So that don't give it, just for your understanding. Until now you can see I created a component, but I'm not writing anything here. I created a component, I'm not writing anything. I'm going to do the basic sanity very initially. Let's go to my index.html where I can give it over there and save my application. And at the same time, we have modal view component. Let's go to the app module, and here I can go with this particular. Okay. Now everything is ready, but I don't want to write anything in my TS. Rather, I can write everything in HTML. Okay. Rather, I can write everything in my HTML. So I'll be taking a div where it comes with the class that is container. I'll be taking a div where I'm going to have a row, and this div will contain, maybe I can say 6 as the column. And here also I'll be taking a div where I can give column 6, that what I can. Okay. Few elements I can take, not much, very few I'll take in my form. Maybe I can say register product or something. Register product I can give. Now the first one, let's have the DT, name of the product. Now I can go with the DD, and here let's take an input type as going to be the text. Input type as text I can give, and if you wanted to give the name property, you can. Otherwise, you may remove it. I can remove everything. Now, two properties has to be given. First one is going to be ng modal. Okay, this is the syntax. Second one, go with the hash, create any name. Maybe I can say product name is the one that what I have given. Product name is the one that what I have given is equal to, again you supposed to specify ng. That's it. Understood what I have done? Just this is what we call it as MVVM. That means I used two-way data binding here so that I can go with ng model. That is the one. Second thing is going to be from where you can get the data and to where you can assign the data. Two-way data binding means what? Not only what getting the data, but also we have to assign the data to the variable, right? So that create that particular variable here. Okay, now this is the one. Same way, I'll be going with another one. Let's say product, maybe here I can say product name. And at the same time, product cost I can give. And I'll go with the DD. Same thing you can go. I'll create an input type as going, I'm sorry. I'll create input type as going to be the text, and you can go with product cost I can give. That's it. Product cost I can give. Means ikkada. Cost generally like will not give the number, will give like in the range, input type range. Number will give a spinner. See, let's say I have a cost which range from 1000 to 2000. Just you can go. How many times I press? String only. It's a string. By default, it takes string. Later we'll convert. General. Now you can see, I'll go with the DT. Maybe product quantity I can say. Now I'll take another DT. Input to type as going to be. And here you can take it as going to be the number. Same ng model. And after that, we will be taking it from where? We'll be assigning it to some variable. So that product quantity is equal to, again you supposed to give what? An ng model over. Clear? ng model. Now this is the DT. And after that, let's take a DT. City. Okay, city information. I'll create some drop down over here, and in order to maintain it, so that I can take a DD and we'll be taking a select tag. Maybe I can remove these two. So the first thing what you need to do, will be giving what? An ng model. And after that, I'll be using hash, okay, city is equal to, again, you can give an ng model and you need to provide an options here. Let's provide that option. So the first option is going to be maybe Hyderabad, and then maybe I can copy the second option is going to be, let's say, Bangalore, and then I'll go with the third option as going to be Mumbai. I'll go with the fourth option as going to be Chennai or something. Okay, I can give, let's say, four options over there. This is how it is going to. Now you can see here also. Okay, this is how it is going. Now, this is the data. Now you can see this is how it is. Right now we don't have any data. Now what I want to do, you can see we have like, all the data. Now based on this data, whatever user has entered, I want to display. Do we have any property defined here? See this? Any property defined here? I don't have any property, but now you can see I can display the data. I can display the data here. So how I can do that one? Simply, let's take another DL. And do you know, like for the forms, we have a property that is class equal to form hyphen control, which will give actually good forms. Okay, this is the difference. Just apply that so that the look is good, obviously. And I can apply to this. I'll apply to this. Save it and then come back. Now you can see the look and feel would be changed, nothing apart from that. And this one also. Perfect. Now you can just come back here. Let us display the data where I can take a DL and then take a DT, product name. So how I can get the product name? So for that, you can see I created a template reference variable. And this template reference variable is nothing but our model where we have the data. Now what I can do, I'll copy that name and directly here, okay, and then give a property that is a value property. What it will do, it will get the value from this particular input element. And the same thing, maybe we have the product cost where I can take another DT. Let's say product cost is available. I'll be taking a DD here and I can give product cost dot. We have the value that I can say. And after that, we will be having what? City is available. Let's copy the city. Okay, city that what I can give. City that what I can give. And here I am taking the city information where I can use city dot value. Now save it and then you can see right now we don't have anything. And I'll be giving a simple H2 product details. And I'll give a class is equal to text center. Save it and then you can see this is how it is. Now when it comes to what tag I have given, H1, don't give H1. H1 should be at head level. Okay. I'll take a simple H1 where I can give text hyphen center MVVM example. Save it and then come back. This is how it is. Now you can see when I give the product name, as going to be 1 plus. And after that, the product cost as going to be, let's say 23K. And the quantity you can see whenever user has changed, we are able to get it. And the city is going to be, when I say Hyderabad, Hyderabad, when I say Bangalore, Bangalore, when I say Mumbai, and when I go with the Chennai. Now here, am I created anything in my component TS? No. This approach, what we call it as a MVVM, model view and view model. That means the model object is prepared, or model variables are prepared directly here. But here we have one more limitation. The limitation is going to be, we cannot directly use the interfaces. In the previous case, I used an interface and I showed you like how important it is. But here, you cannot directly use the interfaces here. That is also one of the limitations. That is where I, generally speaking, I don't know that like in your project, did you find anywhere? This one? No? That is all about like, depend on the requirement. If there is a small form, why should I write it in the component? Directly from there itself, I can write and I can use it. When this is going to be used in my project, I'm telling you, if you open like, let's say, Naresh IT or some website, at the end, you can see subscribe for newsletters. There would be one text box hardly. Did you find? Only subscribe newsletters, enter your email, one button, that's it. If that is a case, it is a single property. Why should I write that again in the component, and why should I bring it in the HTML, and why should I use the two-way data binding? And so instead of doing that, what I can do, people might follow this particular approach that we are having. MVVM, it's a model view, and the second one, view model. Any questions again? I'll write one more point here. That okay, here models. If you have a screen where there are no frequent modification, then we go with this approach, and it reduces definitely the number of requests from component to HTML. Simply I can say. Okay, we don't have any interaction in between that. If we have here, we create the model with the template reference, and this name can be anything. What it will do is here I can write another here name, dollar name, or else I can say dollar name will get the complete access of HTML element. That means it will get the complete access of the HTML element, so that it will get like, all the property. Simple terms, I can say it is exactly similar to document.get element by ID is there, right? Exactly like that it works, but there should be some difference, but it exactly works like in that. Right? Any questions here? MVVM. Clear? No? Right. It's already 8:47, 30 minutes. We can't finish it. Okay, what you're supposed to do is, okay, a small assignment. Maybe you can take a small assignment. Okay, I have the product information where I have displayed, right? Otherwise, like what you can do is, you just open this one. I'll give you this URL to you. Take any of the object. One object you can take from here. This object is having what ID? Men's casual, premium, slim shirt, or whatever. Price, description, category, image. Now, what is your assignment for today is, second. What is your assignment is, let's go with the Flipkart. Now in the Flipkart, if you can open anything, maybe DSLR, you see When I open that, you can find, okay, we don't have these many images, one image only, right? Okay, let's do one thing. There is some website, I guess, Ajio. Let's see. Just my intention is something like this. Men footwear. Just a display like this. First, we should display an image. Okay. Second, you can give the name. Okay, that is the brand. I mean, all that information you can find it here. All that information. First, you have an image URL. Okay, don't need to download any image. This is also like, just copy one thing. Okay, just copy and keep it in your component. Okay, keep it in your component. And from here, what you can do, the very first thing, what has to be displayed? Image. Second one is going to be name. Do we have the name here or not? You can see, maybe title you can give. In place of the name, you can give the title. Now, what is the third one we are having? Description. You can find the description here. Okay. And then the next one is going to be what? Price. Now you have the price also. 22.3 might be there. They think that like it is $1 or something. You can get the price from here. And what we are having, offer price is available. It is not available, so that leave it. And apart from that, you have the rating. And rating also we don't have. Okay, just display the rating also from here. Understood. Just one you can take object and then display the data by using Bootstrap exactly like this. And this way of displaying what we are using is in Bootstrap, there is a concept of cards. Bootstrap cards are available. Okay, cards in Bootstrap. If you can go there, you can see here the image and here the title, description, and then price. Remove the button. Shrikant, how do I remember all these things? No need, copy, paste, and then change here with the whatever the data you people are having. No, one is fine because to render all ng for is required, right? Again, so that is where one you can try. And in the next session, I will show you how we can connect to this particular one, how we are going to display the data. Okay. Clear the assignment? Everyone. Everyone. I'll just upload this.